Alright, hey guys. So since I was out here in the shop, I decided to do a quick video right quick on my plasma, my welding setup, my welding and part of my fabrication setup. So all this is this is an Amazon plasma cutter. I believe it was $120 when I bought it after tax and everything. And all it is it's an inverter plasma cutter. They're super cheap. This one was like the cheapest one. I went ahead and went on a whim for it to see if it was good or not. And it turns out it's fantastic. I've cut up to 1/2 inch metal with this thing. It's a little hard to cut in 1/2 inch, but with a plasma cutter, trying to cut 1/2 inch is pretty tough in the first place with a regular plasma cutter. I've used a $1,000 plasma cutter before, and it still had a hard time cutting through 1/2 inch steel. All this is this one's a display for top. I don't know if they're still for sale right now. It goes up to 50 amps. So what you have here is it says it goes up to 50 amps on 110. It does not go 50 amps on 110. It put at the max it goes from 20 to 50 amps on 110. But when you actually hit 50, it's more like 30 amps is what it is. 25, 30 amps is what it is. Now, but I have mine set up for 240. It works pretty good with a 20 amp breaker on 110. And since it's an inverter, it's pretty nice to have for thinner metals. Like it does up to 1/8 inch pretty good at 110 on a 110 outlet. But I have mine set on 240. I'll usually use it between 35 and 50 amps. That just depends. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have, I think it's 4. Yeah, you want to have it about 60 PSI when you're running it, as that's what I run it at. Depending on what you have, on what you're using, depends on what you're going to be running at. So air pressure wise, I got a used Harbor Freight. They're industrial type, so it puts out I think 11.5 CFM. 11.5 CFM. This one takes like 8 CFM, so I know as long as that's running, it will fill up faster and this thing can use it. Next up is the Lincoln Electric Mig Welder. I got this from my I don't know how much these cost, because I got this from my granddad that passed away. So they are fantastic little welding machines. They're only meant to cycle every hour, I think it is, or 45 minutes or an hour. I put this thing through an hour and a half or 2 hours on straight welding. That's no cool down or anything. It took it like a champ. I think the only reason it lasted that long is because I wasn't welding anything super thick. It was I think it was 1/4 inch is what I was welding. So I mean, it ran for a good while welding 1/4 inch. So that was good. Let's see if I can get y'all down here to the yeah. So there's the Lincoln Electric. So let's do this. Yeah, there we go. Sorry about the shop, it's all dirty. But there's the Lincoln Electric right here. And it's been fantastic over the years. The one down there, right here, is my TIG / stick welder. It is this is a prime weld TIG and stick welder. You can do steel, you can do aluminum, and then you can do stainless steel. You can use your stick if you want to. I actually haven't used the stick welding on this machine yet, so I just do TIG right now with this machine. I haven't got anything that I have stick rod that I just have not used yet. I just keep it around to have it around in case I need to use it. Other than that one was about $680 is how much the prime weld was, and it's an extremely nice machine. Once you get it all set up, they come with a very good heads. The only problem I have is their foot pedal. Their foot pedal pretty much sucks, but it's still nice. So let me raise y'all back up here. But yeah, their foot pedal pretty much sucks. So let's get y'all back up. All right. So what I have here is I was just using this as just a normal 1/8 inch aluminum filler rod for TIG. I'm actually going to put the cover back on that because I'm done using it. Then I have some stick welding rods. I think this is a 5-pound. No, this one's a 10-pound box of stick rods, and they're just normal 1/8 inch stick rods. This one is 7018. They are just steel stick rods. You can get stainless steel and use those. I don't care too much. So let's see, what is this one? This one is, which one? Alright, so this one, come on. I got it on their rubber band still. This right here is aluminum bronze. So it's good for brazing. That's a new thing I've been trying, and so far I really like brazing. Of course, if you don't be doing any actual welding, welding is not brazing. Brazing is when the material is put on top of the product, or the material. Well, the material is put on top of the product or your base, and welding is where you infuse your material with the product. So this one is aluminum bronze, and this one is silicon bronze, in case you were wondering. So I've been using the silicon bronze a lot more because I do more steel than I do aluminum. So I got a piece of aluminum silicon bronze. Make sure that stays in there. There we go. I have myself a wire brush here. This one's starting to get old. This is actually from my shop, or the shop that I was in school. And it has my tape on there that marks it that it was mine. And it's starting to get old, and it's getting really worn out. Well, it's getting bent over a lot. This thing is about 5 years old, almost 5 years old now. I have another backup one here that I like a lot, and I've been using this one for a year, and I still haven't really done a dent on it. Next up, what I have on hand is I keep a pair of pliers. I call them square pliers, square vice grip pliers. I really don't know what they're called. I use those a lot. I keep spare tungsten around, so I just buy them by the pack. This is like $50 per pack. If I do enough welding, I've already gone through 1.5 rods. Let's see what else I got. I should have, where are they? I guess that's in the toolbox. Yeah, I guess it's toolbox. I got a few extras for the TIG welder. All these are some butt-end caps, different size head. I have the number 5 here that I broke because I accidentally dropped it, so there's that. Alright, here they are. So I bought, these are super cheap. These are not like the some of the other brands where you have to replace the entire, well, you can replace the entire assembly, but they have these special assembly blocks right here. They have to buy each block, and they're like $20, $40 a block. They last you forever, but they're really expensive. These right here, these are the tips, and these are the see, you can see this one, I just decided to go ahead and swap out because I had an extra one. But this is after several hours and hours of cutting, and nothing's wrong with it. Not a single thing's wrong with it. I just went ahead and replaced it because the slag was building up on there. I keep it in there in case I want it. So I have that in there. But these are, you can buy just the tips too. And what you gotta do is, for this whole pack here, it was $15. I think I got 20. Not 20 cups. I think there's 10 cups in here, and there's 20 fittings. I've already replaced some of them. But you have these little ceramic bushings here, and they have little pinholes in them for the gas to go through. And then you have your electrode here, and this just slides into this just slides into the cup here, and then on top of that goes on these little caps here for channeling that electricity. And that's how this plasma cutter works. And this is the second tip I've had on here after hours and hours and hours of plasma cutting. This is the second tip I have on here. That's almost $1 worth in tips. So it's much cheaper to go with this style than it is one of the fancier styles that cost a lot more per tip. Now, granted, they'll last longer, but they don't last longer than 2 or 3 of these. So you're spending $1.50, maybe $2 per replacement. I mean, for 3 replacements, where it costs you $20 to $40 for one replacement on the other one, and they last just as long at that rate. So you save a lot of money on tips, especially if you're first learning how to use a plasma cutter. You can blow through some tips if you're first learning how to use a plasma cutter. So you can blow through some tips on here. Now with this one, this is I'm gonna call it's a strike type plasma cutter. So what that means is you hold it down there and you touch your material to get it to arc and cut. It will sometimes do it without actually physically touching it, but it has to be extremely, extremely close. But with this style, you are supposed to touch your material and then pull your trigger, and you can start cutting. With depends on which model you get. There's 2 different types. There's ones I can't remember names on, but I'm gonna call it a strike and a non-strike. A non-strike, it strikes with a gap, and if you touch it, you will be destroying. If you touch your material with that type of machine, you will be destroying your innards of your plasma cutter. This one is a strike to material type of plasma cutter, so therefore you have to physically touch your material for it to strike, and the internals are designed for that particular setup. It's not as a high-end setup because you have to physically touch it, but I really don't understand the argument on which is better. I mean, I've used both. There's no difference to me. I got this one just going on a whim that maybe this thing will actually work, and it's been fantastic. Like, I've never expected a $120 plasma cutter to actually work as good as this thing works. I've cut 1/2-inch steel with this. It's freaking amazing. Now going down here to the Mig Welder here, I keep a pouch of these extra tips on hand. I've actually only ever gone through one on this machine over the years, and so this one pack's 3 years old, 3 or 4 years old, and you get, I think it's a pack of 5. I want to say, yeah, it's a pack of 5, and I've used 1 tip out of it so far. And so you just have these there, and the wire goes through them, and you're good to go. Other than that, I keep gloves on hand. So these are my really old gloves. These are, you can sit. I've pretty much burned through these. I don't even use these anymore, really, unless I'm breaking something down. But I've burnt the fingers on them and everything. There's holes all in it. And these are the Tillman 24CL. I think they're deer skin. I think that's what they are, and they are fantastic gloves. These are about, let's see, these are 8 years old right here, just about 8 years old. These right here are less than a year old, and so I've taken pretty good care of them. They're a little burnt here and there, and these are the Vulcan Defender ones. They are a fantastic glove. I like how long they are. So compared to the Tillman, they're several inches longer. So you get all. So if I put it to finger, that's how much extra arm length you get out of it, and I really like that when I'm bearing down on something. I don't like being zapped through my arm too often, and when you have a metal table and you're welding, you will be zapped quite often. Nothing that hurts you, but it just spooks you. You just get a nice little surprise. So next up, all I keep on is my welding hood. I got rid of my other welding hood. I don't like them. This is a numbered 11 lens. So I am a mechanical person. I like mechanical devices. I do not prefer at all electrical devices. So I have a electric welding helmet that auto adjusts for you. I do not like them, so I have this. This is not my original welding helmet. My other welding helmet eventually got destroyed, and I had this. It was just splattered, and you couldn't see anything. And I replaced the glass, and the insert started going bad, so I just replaced it with a new helmet. This is a number 11 lens again, and I really like this one. This one actually, I decided to go really cheap, like super cheap. And when I say super cheap, so your normal welding helmet cost, I think I spent $40 on my original welding helmet. This one's 15 bucks. This one's a Harbor Freight, believe it or not. Now, granted, I did not keep the lens in that one. I do have the original lens. Yeah. Oh, there it is. I have the original lens sitting right there on the bottom, and this is the extra glass plate that came with it. Now this is actually acrylic, so I really like that. So it's not adding any weight. It's not adding any weight to your helmet. And it's not, if you drop your helmet and hit something, it's not gonna break, it's just gonna scratch. I kept the glass on this one. No, actually, I put the acrylic in this one. And this was a $10 welding lens. So technically I have like 25 bucks in this helmet. Versus my other one that came with everything nice, and it was $40. Still save some money, but this is a super cheap, flimsy helmet. What I really care about is the actual mechanism here, the indents for your hood. They're really nice, and they just did a really good job on making this helmet. Everything's really good at locking in place. The only problem I had was with these little indents right here. I had to move them a few extra degrees because they kept on hitting my ear and pinching my ear. So I just moved them, and that fixed that. Welding tanks. I keep a full-size bottle of CO2. I keep, where'd that other tank? Oh, the other tank's on the other side. I keep a smaller, for some reason I've tried and I can never remember the sizes of tanks I have. But then I have just this little one right here. That one's Argon. And that's a 3-foot tank. That's approximately a 4-foot tank, if that helps y'all. But that one's Argon. That one's CO2. Then I have, every once in a while, I'll be welding copper. So I have a thing of helium. And also you can blow up balloons with it. So I have a thing of helium for copper welding and blowing up balloons. Or if you want to have some fun and you want to breathe in some helium and be the laughing stock of the welding shop. Next up is I have, in case I need to go somewhere and I need to, and I have a torch, I have this little bottle of oxygen, and then I have another bottle of acetylene, and then I have a big bottle of oxygen if I need that for anything. Other than that, that is everything for my welding setup. So I made the cart here with it. All I did is grind these down to Mig Weld it because this was a super simple build. I wasn't going to take the time to TIG weld it. I just went ahead and Mig welded it, and what it looked like, it was what it looked like. Then I got aluminum bronze, silicon bronze, 1/8 inch steel, 10-pound box of 7018. This is AC, it's not DC. So if y'all were wondering, I prefer AC over DC, but you can use DC as well. And then a box of aluminum. I think that's a 5 pound, 5 pound aluminum, 10 pound stick. Also, what comes with this, what comes with the prime weld, I do not like. So, and it's kind of a stupid thing in my opinion. I prefer the foot pedal. The reason I don't like this is, so you would screw this in where your foot pedal screws in. But the thing that annoys me is this little trigger. What you do is you rubber band this or zip tie it to your electrode. You zip tie or a rubber band it there, and then you can click it, and you would be holding it like this, and you would click it. It's a fantastic idea. I just think it's stupid where you have to put it. So, or you can have it in your other hand when you're feeding rod, I guess. I don't know. But I have yet to use this just because I think it's so stupid how they have it set up. I installed it with this on it, used it once, and took it back off. I keep a striker for a torch or anything. It's good for actually just about anything. I keep extra lenses, extra gloves. Oh yeah, so actually I don't have my old pair of stick welding gloves because I destroyed them. When I say destroyed them, they caught on fire. My other glove must have dropped somewhere. So right here, I'll just set that right here. So right here I have what brand is this? Come on, the guy make it hard to find brand sometimes. Well, I got this from my welding shop. It's just a plain old leather stick welding glove. They're really nice. The reason I destroyed the other ones is because I was moving around some metal, and they eventually, finally, after 7 years, caught on fire, and half the glove was burnt, so I just tossed them out. I don't know where the other one went. That's weird. I guess I just on the floor. It fell off somewhere. But that's what I have for my welding setup. I have a plasma cutter. I have a Mig Welder, and then I have a TIG and stick combo with extra fittings and everything. I just put on all my brackets as I needed them. This is going to get redone at some point. Mainly, I just don't like it. I took just random spare parts of wood, pieces of wood. I had these leftover wheels from my toolbox that I bought from the store, and I hated the wheels, so I upgraded the wheels and kept the wheels, and I ended up using it on this cart here, and it's good for this amount of weight. They sucked on my tool cart that weighed over 1,000 pounds. So, and then I have these little doohickeys that came from my granddad's shop, and these are starting to get old. They're not really high quality. I can't even remember who makes these. They're all worn out. They were some cheap ones off the internet. I don't remember. But I plan on getting some more at some point. They're not very strong anymore, but they can still hold. I used these to make all these joints 90 degrees, and the whole thing came out perfectly. Even though they're still pretty weak, you can still get a really nice setup. Other than that, that is everything I have on the welding cart. So I literally just took, these are actually, for the welding cart, it is actually just an old fence rods. So you know those metal fences? This is what this is made out of. I found it in the scrapyard, just this fence that was all bent up and everything. I cut all these out and pulled them all out, cut them to size, and made this out of it. So this whole cart cost me nothing. It was $0 to make for everything, because it was just a bunch of scraps and everything laying around. And then for the hooks on here, this is a spare one I never welded on. All I did is take some 1/8 inch because I wanted it good and strong. Took some 1/8 inch and hammered them out on the anvil, and just put a little. I put a little angle on them, so when I put it in there, it sits like this, and the hoses kind of drop in there. And I wanted to make it big enough so all the hoses will fit in them. So I rolled them up for the hoses and wires I needed, and I made them to the largest width of the largest hose and wires I had together, and that's how I came up with this size here. And I just took measurements, hammered them all out, and I think made 10 of these. That actually, now that I think about it, that cost me $5 to do for the stick that I use for that. That is everything on my welding stuff. So if y'all want to ever see this stuff run, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna make a video on the TIG and stick running, mainly because it's TIG and stick. There's no point in me, if you know how TIG weld or stick weld, or you've seen people TIG weld and stick weld, this is the exact same thing. It runs perfectly. Just make sure they are not designated, so you have to make sure your lines are on the right side. So your negative on your cord goes to, yeah. So well, not your negative. Your positive on your cord goes to your yeah, so your chuck for your electrode goes into your bracket, your left hand bracket. Your foot pedal or your clicker goes in on the your negative port, which is just a chrome piece on the prime weld one. And then your gas line will be hooked up to your left side, and that will feed into your electrode cabling. The only upgrade I have to this that I want to do is I want to get a sheath for it, so that way the cable and hose is all in one sheath and it's protected. Right now I got them separate and they just fumble around and it's a pain in the butt. But yeah, you want to be careful with that, because when I first set this up, I actually had them swapped because they fit in the exact same way, and in the instructions, they're horrible Chinese instructions, so they just kind of suck. The other one, there's another welder that's the AHP welder. I like that one over this one. They're both almost identical. Really, the only difference to me is the setup they have, is the dial setup, and that the AHP has a plastic cover that goes over the knobs so you don't bump your knobs and they don't get dirty. This one does not. I've bumped the knobs several times and had to go back and change them back to where they were. So that's the only positive on the AHP. They're both about the same price as when I bought them. The whole reason I didn't get the AHP is because they were sold out of the AHP. Again, $780 I think is how much it was. Fantastic machine. So if you really want to get started welding and fabricating and everything, you can get into welding and fabricating for I say $1,500. You can get everything on this cart, brand spanking new, for $1,500. Everything. If you wanted to start out super basic and just weld, because you don't need a plasma cutter, you don't need a TIG welder, you don't need a stick welder really. The best thing for a home shop is a Mig Welder. Very few people are going to be doing anything serious enough they don't need a TIG or stick welder. Mainly TIG is if you want something really nice, or if you want to stay really clean, then you want to get a TIG. If you really don't care about cleanliness, how clean the work area is, and you don't care about the price, then yeah, you might as well go ahead and get a TIG stick combo. Now you can buy a separate stick welding machine that's much smaller, the same size as this plasma cutter, just about, maybe a little bigger, and it will be just a regular stick welding machine for $150 to $300 for off Amazon. I don't buy anything. I I don't buy anything from my welding shop that's machine wise. I don't buy my pliers from there. The only thing I buy from there is the hoses and cables that I need sometimes. I buy them from there. Everything else I buy offline or I buy somewhere else. Usually offline. But if you want to do fabrication and welding, you might as well just go and get a MIG and a plasma cutter. That right there, I don't know how much these cost, so don't quote me on that. I think it's like $400, $300 or $400 for the Lincoln Electric. This is the SP100, so it's a little older model. This is $120 when I bought it for the whole setup. It actually comes with a really nice setup. The only problem I had is when I got this this air setup here. The only problem I had with it is I had to take these off and redo the connectors because they were horribly done. They were kind of just stuck on there and reamed out and everything. But if you want to get a full-on fabrication welding setup, just bare bone basic, as cheap as you possibly can, you get everything here for $1,500 or less. So that's up to y'all. That is like $400 or $500, I think, maybe $300. The Lincoln, the Prime Weld there is $760 or $780 when I bought it, and this was $120 when I bought it. Again, this is the TIG and stick is Prime Weld, the MIG is Lincoln Electric, and the plasma cutter is a stupid name called Display 4, like the actual letter, the number 4 top. So that's the name of it, and it's a 50 amp 110 240 plasma cutter. If y'all like this video and y'all want to see anything extra with these machines, leave me a comment, like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, give me a thumbs down and tell me why you didn't like the video, and I'll try to make it better next time. I'm just starting out, so help me out there. Y'all have a good one. See you next time. Bye.